Hello there, adventurers, and welcome to Wally DM. Today our adventuring party is in a haunted house and trying to enter a mysterious door. But covering up the clues on how to open this door are thousands of crows. So they're going to need to figure out how to get all these crows out of the way so that they can solve the puzzle. Today we're going to take a look at the scarecrows. So in this puzzle, our adventuring party enters the second floor of an atrium-like building. Now you can put this in a haunted house, a castle, a mansion, maybe looking down from a wizard's tower or a windmill, or something to that effect. But what I have here is they're going to enter the second floor, and this is like a catwalk with a railing all around the outside. Now if they were to look over the railing, about 5 feet down, they're going to see a large swarm of crows. And when I mean large swarm of crows, they're going to see hundreds and hundreds of crows filling this entire area, probably about 5 feet down, so they cannot see the floor of the first building. So without the crows here, this is probably a wide open area and they can see down to the first floor. But they can't do that right now because all of these crows are filling the area. Now when we describe the room to the players, the catwalk could have like statues along the outside, or shelves, or end stands, or things like that. And of course there's going to be a bunch of crows that are perched on all of them as the party walks through. There's probably even some crows perched on the railing, so as they walk through they'll probably fly down and join the rest of the swarm, or move over to something else. But as our adventurers come over to this area, they're going to see an open part of the railing. So there's no railing right here. But again, as soon as they look down, they're just going to see swarms and swarms of crows. But off to the right, they're going to see a small platform here, and this platform is going to have a dial on it. Now on this pedestal, they're going to see a dial, and this dial has 24 runes inscribed around it. Now right above the dial, they're going to see a clockwise symbol and then a counterclockwise symbol. So that's going to indicate to the party that they're going to have to turn it clockwise to one rune and then counterclockwise to another rune. And we can allow the players to have their character do an intelligence roll or maybe even an investigation check to see how this works, and we can let them know that it looks like they need to turn the dial to the right to one rune and to the left to the other rune. Now the other noticeable feature in this room is a transparent door, and this door is kind of just floating like right out here in the middle. It almost looks as if there may have used to be like a bridge or a walkway that used to go right across here to this door, but of course there's nothing there now. It's just filled with crows about 5 feet down, but perhaps something will happen that'll extend something out to here where they can enter this door. Now this door right now is transparent, so if they try to shoot anything through it, or if they fly over through it, they're just going to go right through the door. They're not going to be able to enter it as it is now. Now of course if the players just start turning the dial here, trying to figure out a combination without trying to actually solve the puzzle, I would say for each incorrect solution, so they turn it clockwise to one symbol or rune, and then counterclockwise to the other rune, and if they do that wrong, then we'll probably have something like a ghost appear. Maybe come out from this transparent door, come out here and attack the party. And then once the party defeats the ghost, then it's gone, and again, if they do another incorrect solution, we'll have our ghost friend come back and attack them. So it should be obvious at this point that the characters need to find some more clues, because they're not going to be able to solve this from here. So I have a set of stairs here, so the party can go down this set of stairs. Now our characters are now on the first level of this atrium, and if they look above their head, they're just going to see swarms and swarms of crows. Again, hundreds of these crows. But while they're in here, they can see that the floor has some strange red markings, but they're not able to make out what it is. Also, if they search the room, they'll be able to find two stands, and we'll put these two stands right here. And these two stands have, looks like a pole can be inserted into these two stands. Now we can have our players have their characters make another type of intelligence check, and we could probably relay it to them that these strange red markings, if they were to be able to look from above, they would probably actually be able to make out what they say. But in the current situation with all the crows above them and looking at it from ground level, they're unable to make out what these symbols are. Now what the characters are going to need to do to solve the puzzle is they're going to need to find 2 scarecrows to put into these poles. Now it's up to you as the DM. Perhaps they've already come across these scarecrows. Maybe they were in the first room that they encountered. Maybe they were out back in the yard and they found an old shed, and inside the shed there's 2 scarecrows, and you explain to them really carefully that it looks like they have a metal pole so that they can be stood up somewhere, and perhaps the characters or the players log that in the back of their mind, and when they see these 2 areas here, be like, hey, we need to go get those scarecrows, or something to that effect. Or you can have them find them afterwards. So you could just put a door right here. Maybe this is a closet, or maybe this goes outside and there's 2 scarecrows out there. But in order to solve the puzzle, the characters need to put these 2 scarecrows in here. And when they do, all of these crows will start to fade and disappear. Now with the crows gone, the characters can still see some red markings on here, but the only way they're going to be able to figure it out is they need to look down on them from above. So they'll need to go back up the stairs and look down on this room from the 2nd level of the atrium. Now that the scarecrows on the 1st level are in place, the characters can come back up the stairs to the 2nd floor where the catwalk and the dial are. Now if they look over the railing, all of the birds, all of the crows are gone. And they can see these 2 runes here. So if we look at our dial and then look at these 2 runes, the characters, all they need to do is rotate clockwise to this rune and then counterclockwise to this rune. And when they do that, a magical walkway will appear, and this door will become solid. It is still floating out here in the air, but it is solid, and our party can walk over and through the door to whatever awaits them next. Now, while I was putting this puzzle together, I did do a little bit of research on scarecrows, and I found that they do kind of work, but it's only a temporary solution. So if you put a scarecrow into position, it'll work for a couple days, and then the birds or crows will get used to it. And if you don't move the scarecrow around, then it's not going to work anymore. I also found out that it takes, like for an acre of field, it takes at least a dozen, if not 2 dozen scarecrows to be put into place into an acre of land for it to be most effective. So with those 2 facts in mind, I still thought it'd be really cool to put a puzzle together where the characters need to place a few scarecrows into position, and it moves a bunch of birds out of the way so they can reveal an answer to a puzzle. So what do we do if the characters decide to just fireball that area or blast it with cold, trying to kill all these crows off? Well, there's a couple ways we can handle it. The first is we just let them do it. Maybe it takes 2 or 3 fireballs and they end up scorching all these crows and they all fall dead to the 1st level of the atrium. And then as they go down there, they will need to actually pick up some brooms and sweep and clean up the area in order to be able to see these symbols that are inscribed on the ground. Go back up to the 2nd level and then look down on it. Another option we could do is perhaps there's just too many to deal with that way. So the players can have their characters fireball a couple spots, and as they kill off dozens or hundreds of crows, more take its place. Maybe there's like a portal somewhere that's just siphoning in all of these crows, and perhaps if they do try to attack all these crows, maybe an entire swarm attacks the characters and maybe they have to run out of the area for a little bit. Something like that. But with all kinds of different things you could do to allow the characters or allow the players to come up with some creative solutions. You don't actually have to use the scarecrows to put them in place to solve the puzzle. Of course, that's the main solution, but if the players come up with something really cool, you could probably go with that instead. Now, as far as the symbols I chose a wheel with runes, and if you'd like to download that and print it out so you can show your players, I'll put a link below so you can use the same dial that I showed in this video. But I got the runes idea thumbing through the Midgard Player's Handbook, and there's an entire section on rune magic. So I was like, you know what? It'd be really cool to have a puzzle where there's a dial with runes, and then maybe where you look down onto the ground, you have to look from above because when you're on ground level, the symbols are too big to be able to figure out what they are. So by looking down, you see these 2 runes that are emblazoned on the ground. Now, the 2 runes that I picked to be the answers to the puzzle were kind of on purpose, because I was thumbing through this handbook and I seen that each of these runes in here have a different meaning. So the first one that I picked was I'm going to say Dagaz. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But this rune is day and laying the dead to rest. And I thought that was a really cool idea because I have like a ghost-like door, and if they turn it to the wrong runes, then a ghost will appear. So day and laying the dead to rest. And of course, I'm probably going to be using this in a haunted house too. So that rune made a lot of sense to me. The second rune that I used is the Odalin. Again, I'm going to just butcher the pronunciation. The Odalin, which is property, inheritance, and family. And again, since I'm using a haunted house idea, this was the second rune that pretty much made the most sense with the setting that I was putting in with regards to property. But of course, you can use any symbols, any runes, whatever you want when you run the puzzle. So that's the Scarecrows puzzle. And what'd you think? Is this something that you could use for your Halloween or haunted house adventure? If so, what might you do differently? Don't forget to leave a comment below. That helps the channel out a lot. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and on to the next. Oh wait, one more idea before we go. Maybe to add just a little bit of coolness to how we describe the puzzle to the players after they have put together the correct solution is I was just thinking that the entire first floor is probably covered with bird shit. I mean, there's probably bird shit everywhere. So to have the runes inscribed on the floor and then filled with all this bird crap or dead birds or however we decide to run the puzzle might be a little bit hard to conceive. So instead of that, once the 2 scarecrows are put in place, maybe all of the crows fall dead and they kind of outlay into the symbols of the runes. And when the characters go back to the second floor of the atrium, they could look down and see that the dead crows have formed the shape of these 2 runes. Maybe they're still on fire, so maybe they're cooking down there or something like that. And they look down and they see all these crows that are on fire, but laid out perfectly for the 2 symbols that they need to open the door.